Welcome everyone to the platform development update. My name is Balázs and we are here with the 5 teams to give you an update today from the past 2 weeks. If you have any please feel free to raise them in the chat below. We will try to answer all of them in a dedicated QA session at the end of our update. And we are planning this session for about 1 hour, and yeah, any feedback, any question are welcome. And without further ado, let's start with TenderDash. Dima.
Hello everyone, my name is Dmitry. I'm from TenderDash team, software developer, and let me take a quick look at what our team has done in the last 2 weeks. Well, yeah, first topic is related to improvement for process proposer-based timestamp. This logic already was backported some time ago from the upstream, and since it was a conflict with our implementation, we postponed it until we will kind of have a time to fix this. And with this PR, we fix it, and currently that improvement already kind of done and ready for the merge. Next topic is about a process proposal execution twice for a block. Well, some time ago, a Drive team reported us about that is possible to call process proposal ABCI method more than once for the same height as the same round, and this is wrong behavior which we eliminated with this PR. Yeah, currently we refactored state consensus component, and everything should work as expected. Next topic is about renaming some fields in Genesis JSON file. It's super minor task which was requested by infra team. And the next topic is quite large. Is about refactoring deadlock in the consensus state component. Actually, we're already done with this task, but since it affects a lot of code and more than a lot of it would be one of the most critical part of our application, we postponed this task until we will be free. So actually, we want to continue working on it after New Year. And yeah, and let's see. We decided first of all release the current version of our code base, and after that proceed working on it. Improve write-ahead log replay mechanism. So yeah, this task about refactor the current implementation of skipping round to the last. Some time ago, we noticed that if on the testnet, if we have a behavior when we get stuck on the height by some reason, for instance, we cannot kind of get the confirmation in order to confirm the block and move forward. In this case, we can generate a lot of rounds for the height, and if by some reason we need to restart the node, we have to replay all those rounds for the height, and it may take a lot of time. And we slightly improve this mechanism when we can skip all rounds until the last one. Yeah, the current implementation was refactored a little bit and make more stable than it was. We also added the configuration parameter in order to enable or disable this feature, but unfortunately, it doesn't cover all cases what we want to cover. And yeah, currently we need to decide internally in our team what we have to do with this task, because the work is done, and either we have to merge it in the current implementation or we postpone it until after when we release. Yeah, the next group of tasks is about investigation of deadlock. The first is about state sync package. We noticed that if by some reason it's related only for E2 testing. If by some reason the node couldn't get light block response, then it might broken whole node, so it terminates node and make our network stable. Yeah, with this task we element this problem. Currently we added the retry mechanism. If by some reason we cannot get the response,
Dima, you are breaking up for me. I don't know if it's for others as well. If you can turn off your camera, maybe that.
so we can.
Dima?
I would say let's continue. I mean, he was almost done with TenderDash. Unless
Yeah.
Lucas, are you here?
Yeah, I can just add one thing that basically we have these two deadlock. And hi, my name is Lucas. I'm also member of the TenderDash team. So in addition to what Dima said, we also have a deadlock in the peer app. So that's what is called when we connect a new node. So also that logic needs some improvements. And here we are still working on that to get it fixed. It might be also like delayed to post-release version if we decide it's related with the refactor of the consensus state, because it's related basically. So maybe it will go to the next version. In terms of these versions, we had a discussion about like taking a risk to merge some of these improvements before release of the first beta version that is needed that will be delivered by us approximately at the end of this year, right? So that's why we are talking about all these like postponed items. These will just go to the next version to be able to deliver on time what is needed for the platform to work on production. And last thing that I can mention here is that we did a release 080, which is for the dependency for the platform 0.23. We just created a full release of the code that was already in use and testing as one of the pre-releases, so it's not a significant change. It's just like a full release of something that already worked. And that's it on the TenderDash side here. In terms of next slide, basically our goal is still to get some stabilization and test TenderDash and stabilize it. Also, we have a BLS library that we use to generate the signatures, and we will update that. This needs to be synchronized a bit with the rest of the team in terms of platform and the core. So this is some small, I would say small task, but just needs some coordination. Same about the vote extensions with withdrawals transactions. Not sure if there will be much work here, but like it's more like an integration task and then actual implementation. Maybe it will turn out that what we have now doesn't need too much work. And also we have hit some seed node issue where it's quite easy to deny of service the seed nodes in current code base. So this is also something that we have on our board. And in terms of Drive integration, we see it as done. I think the Drive team can give you more details on the progress there, but from TenderDash perspective, we don't expect any further work in terms of integrating current code base with Drive. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Lucas.
Thanks, Lucas. That's great. Okay, I'm Simon Westrich. I'm the CTO at Dash Core Group, and let me talk to you about GroveDB. GroveDB is our storage engine for the platform. So we had just a few tasks left before GroveDB is done. Done in terms of ready for the first release. So we pretty much last week. Actually, can we skip to the next slide really quickly? We can see. So last week, basically, we had this sum trees merge in progress or in review. We had the average case processing cost already done. 2 weeks ago. We still needed to do some code polishing, and we had the light proof feature. So basically, in the last 2 weeks, we did the code polishing. The sum trees were merged in. Let's go back now. One of the big difficulties for sum trees was that our system has a cost for every operation. And this new sum tree feature basically changed all the costs. Very little amount, but basically all tests, all code paths had to account for that little change. And so it was a lot more work than was expected, but hey, it's done. So at the moment, GroveDB is ready for platform. The last task that we have here is a light client proof feature, which is needed for mobile, but it isn't needed for platform running at all. It just needed to verify proofs on mobile clients. So pretty much at this point, GroveDB is done for the platform side, and Wisdom is working on this light client proof feature, and he'll talk to you about it right now.
Hey guys. So the goal is basically clients that just want to verify proofs that GroveDB produces, but then they do not need the extra features. So the idea will be to split up GroveDB into 2 parts, one that has all the features and one that just has the proof verification feature. So clients that do not need the extra feature would just compile GroveDB with the verify feature, and then they can verify GroveDB proofs, but then they don't bear the extra cost in terms of like compilation time, file size, when they're using this essentially. So that's in progress, and we'll soon release that.
Excellent. Thanks, Wisdom. On to SDK. Igor?
Yep, I'm around. Hey, everyone. Igor from JavaScript SDK is here. I think I see... Oh, yeah, there it is. Sorry. So in this sprint, we finished updating gRPC web library. I will remind that we needed that to be eligible for publishing JavaScript SDK apps using JavaScript SDK to Google Web Store, as we currently making a Chrome web extension. So this feature is done and transferred to a developer who's doing an extension. And we also plan to fine-tune consensus rules and work on reorgs. This thing is currently in progress, but rather mostly set aside because I am currently focused on helping guys to port Rust DPP to WASM, making WASM bindings. This is it for SDK tasks. Please switch to the next slide. Yeah, and as I said previously, in web extension, we're currently busy migrating manifest v2 to manifest v3. Yeah, this is it. Mostly for completed tasks for last sprint. And what's next stays the same. Reorgs handling, consensus rules, fine-tuning, and secure keychain storage. By the way, we made a research how MetaMask stores keys securely, and we plan to use this model or something similar in JavaScript wallet as well. So yeah, this is it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. let's continue with protocol. Javi, would you think so?
Hello there, beautiful people. Quick update on withdrawals. This whole thing was on pause since we had to update GroveDB in platform, and it took some time. So first 4 points are still at the same state. However, we've added one more story to implement, is to reuse an expired withdrawal transaction index to avoid bloating of these indices. And this is currently in progress, as well as a quick update of other stuff there in withdrawals. And once this is concluded, I would say this should conclude the whole withdrawals stuff. I mean, whatever we've been implementing in this set of stories, which will move this thing into the final reviews. So that's kind of it for now.
Thank you very much. Konstantin?
Kostya?
Yeah, I'm here. Finally, we finished the block execution. Now it's ready, and let's see what was done. So the first one, use proposed block execution context in states repository. So in a few words, states repository now use proposal block execution context. So it means that we use current block execution context with current data of the current block instead of the previous one. Yeah, and it is able, now we're able to respond with current data. I mean, and because of it. Update finalized block signature. So finalized block BCI request now contains the whole block instead of multiple fields as it was before. So we adapted the corresponding drives BCI handler to deal with it. Skip process proposal if prepare proposals already code for this round. So the thing is that on validator nodes, prepare proposal and process proposal requests can be called one after other, but basically they do the same thing, and we don't want to do the same job twice. So we decided to skip process proposal if prepare proposal was already coded to increase performance.
Can I add something really quickly just to clarify? Prepare proposal is done by the proposer of the block, and process proposal is done on everybody receiving that block. So generally, like, you also receive the block that you prepare, but if you are the proposer, there's no point to process the same thing that you proposed. Basically.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
Yeah, no problem.
So the next thing, save single database transaction block processing. Yeah, right now we use single database transaction for block processing. Previously we wanted to use multiple, but as you remember, we decided not to do that. Yeah, and switch to single database transaction. We talked about it the previous time. Comprehensive login. Yeah, the goal was to make our logs more readable. It would be helpful both for us and for other developers probably in the future. Yeah, since it was necessary since we changed block execution model. So yeah, we fixed the login as well. Pass latest chain lock on each chain. Here we decided to add the latest chain lock to init chain BCI response to make our responses more consistent. I mean, with other BCI responses. That's pretty much it, I guess.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
I would like to emphasize one thing that's actually, could you go back, please? The whole thing, the same block execution is a huge effort of the TenderDash and platform team. And I mean, we were talking about it during like many demos. And just as a reminder, it's not just the simplification of the logic, how we execute the blocks. So instead of having like 2 block commits for the state transitions, now everything done in 1 block. And it's also speed up basically the end user applications, because the finalization time, I mean, when you, for example, when you're storing data, and now you need to wait not 2 blocks, but you get information back right after the first block when the state transition was committed. So I would like to congratulate you guys. Good job. We worked hard, and like we achieved that. So cool. Actually, Kostya prepared a demo for you today to demonstrate how it works, but unfortunately, it's like bad luck. Today, our commit number turned into 666, so probably, and the Docker based Docker image.
Our pull request number.
Yeah, pull request number. So, and the Docker based image, what we used to build our services, was updated by maintainer, and like everything failed, like all pull requests and stuff. So, but good news, I fixed it now, like a couple minutes ago. So your pull request is green now.
Okay, well, the demo will have to happen next week, like in 2 weeks.
So Kostya will show it to you guys next time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oh,
we had a little bit of bad luck, you know, and a dependency that we use basically broke.
It's happening from time to time, unfortunately. Okay, let's go further.
Yeah, thank you. Sam?
Yeah, sure. So you might remember Identity V2 and efficient data serialization also being in progress 2 weeks ago. There was no progress. I left it here just to basically keep it on the board so people can see it. These are tasks these are smaller things that I need to do. Well, smaller in the sense that there's not much work there, but my time has been very much used on trying to completely finalize GroveDB, you know, and put a pin in it. So, you know, even though that these are close to being complete, they haven't had any work on them, and they will be completed this. The next 2 things I worked on was the integration of average case costs into platform. So this is actually what does it mean? Well, in the way platform works, when you receive a specific state transition, the state transition has an approximate cost. Let's say it's like 20 cents. And we can calculate that it's about 20 cents with the average case cost. And if your identity doesn't have that much in it, doesn't have 20 cents, immediately it's going to be rejected. Now, some people might be wondering, okay, well, what happens if your identity has 20 cents and the average case cost is wrong, and the actual cost is 21 cents, and you're basically 1 cent overdue? Well, we actually handle this case as well. The average case costs are always exact on storage costs. They're always, and this was a lot of effort actually to make this happen. They will always predict perfectly the amount of storage that you use. What they might not predict perfectly is the processing cost. And there's actually no way to predict perfectly because you don't actually have access to the state, and different state transition can happen in various orders. So in this case, since the processing costs are very low compared to storage costs, we do allow basically each identity has a little bit of a buffer zone because it costs money to create the identity. And this little buffer zone basically is used for the average case costs in case the processing fees are slightly too high. And we're talking generally about 1/10 of a cent, and in very, very rare cases. The average case costs are generally quite conservative, and they generally take everything into account. Now, sorry, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this because it's actually very cool on how this works. Drive basically uses GroveDB and has all of these secondary indexes where the secondary indexes allow for queries. Now imagine, you have, your tree on trees, and you basically, for each level of every secondary indexes, the platform kind of already knows how many elements can be in that tree. It can either be, very big or very small, and it gives all this information for every state to GroveDB to get an approximate cost. It was very hard, and I'm very happy to say that that's done. Very, very happy to say that that's done. And with that, costs are done. We had worst case costs that people might remember, but the problem with worst case costs were that, they were too bad. Something that might cost 1 cent in processing, in the worst case, was like 30 cents. And it was just way too off compared to what it needed to be. So we decided to do an average case cost. Anyways, it's done. It's done. So then the next one is integration of GroveDB 0.7. So I had talked about support sum trees before, and sum trees are the feature that basically allow for protection against inflationary bugs. You can actually check with sum trees the balance of all your identities. So let's say you have all the balances of all your identities are in the state, and sum trees basically, as balances change, sum up all the amount and always give the balance of all your identities in a very, very efficient way. The integration of GroveDB 0.7 has been done. We didn't actually put in the sum trees support yet. We just basically changed it to support sum trees. The actual supporting of sum trees was a little bit more work, so we decided to do it in 2 pull requests just to make it more granular. Okay, and with that, I will pass it on to Ivan.
Thanks. So previous sprint, as you remember, we accomplished the fees. It was the final, fees accomplished from perspective of version 23, the storage, basically the precise storage fees. This sprint, we made all routine to release platform 23. It's finally released. The Docker images are built. Unfortunately, we cannot deploy them right now on testnet because we still are fixing core 18.2 issues and testing some kind of strange behavior what we would like to I would say locate and fix. So until this point, I mean, until the 18.2 will be released, platform will wait its time. But it's a good milestone anyways. Hope we will see it soon on testnet. Yeah, also we continue our work on the phase for version 24. We planned to implement created refunds. It's then you store the documents, and then if you delete these documents, you're getting back the credits what you paid for storage. This task split into 2 or 3, I would say 3, and one of them done is more like refactoring, when we use the same structure, what we call field result in RS drive, in JS drive, in DPP, and it's like circulate through the whole state transition execution and go back to the RS drive as the block field results. So this done, and we're working right now on the credit refunds. Yeah. So regarding what's left, as we just discussed, field refunds in progress. We need to accomplish and test withdrawals when Rust DPP is integrated to our JavaScript code, so we can test the whole flow when we say in state transition, the create withdrawal transition, and basically they test the whole thing. Also, we're going to work on the state sync. We already started investigation on this, and state sync will allow us to bootstrap nodes for like minutes, or like not for the days. Basically, then you don't need to download and replay the whole blockchain, but you just downloading the pieces of state from different nodes and cryptographically verify them, combining them back together. So
can I add something quickly?
Sure.
Yeah, while that might sound very complicated, I think people in this chat might remember something called chunking that we worked on a few months ago. So the chunking part was the lower level part of state sync, and the higher level part of state sync is what's left, which is basically take these chunks and do a transport layer around them so we can distribute them. Now, TenderDash already has something for state sync, and what we've uncovered, and while we thought this was going to be quite easy, we uncovered that they're doing it slightly differently than we that we planned to do it. And Tendermint is doing it slightly different than how we plan to do it. So we are going to have to make a few modifications, and that's why we put it as we added it as something left that's major. Generally, we don't like to add things into this what's left, but you know, we want to stay honest. So this is something new that came on the board from 2 weeks ago, and yeah, so.
Anything else, Ivan?
Yeah, please continue.
Yeah, I mean, shall I go through the minor things because we already did it last time?
There's no need. There is just one thing that also was added here, was add the sum tree feature to the pool trees. I guess we had forgotten to add this as an item when we had originally created this. So that's also going to happen, and that's going to happen in I mean, it's not a very big thing, it's a minor one. So yeah, there is still a lot left to do, but you know, as GroveDB is kind of done, and I'm freed up, like all my work is done on GroveDB. I can come in and help you guys. Wisdom will be done in a few days. So, we're all going to pile in and try to finish this as soon as possible.
Yeah, great.
Thank you very much. Then let's move on to Rust port update.
Sure. Yep. Hey guys, Anton's here, and today we'll give you an update on our Rust port efforts. So, the last time I reported, we had about 30 errors ported out of total of 76. And today, this is down to 75 out of 76. So there's still one more left, which is the most complex one. But it's almost done. So I still haven't marked this as done because it's, well, not done yet. This is a crucial kind of stepping point, because after this one, after all this consensus error framework has been ported, we can finally start integrating with the rest of the system, with the validators, with all the factories and the rest of the code. Can we go please to the next slide so I can give you a little bit more update on the rest of the work that has been done. Now, while the consensus error framework is very important, of course, there are still a few components, a few main data structures we have in Rust DPP that are crucial for WASM DPP to function inside our system. And those are state transitions. We have total of three types of state transitions, as you can see here. That's data contract, identity, and document. So far, we finished almost half of them. That's data contract create transition, identity create transition, alongside with the asset lock proofs. And also we have in progress right now data contract update, identity update, and document batches. We also reworked our binary serialization system, so we will have easier time serializing these data structures, and we removed a lot of the boilerplate code that previously was there to speed up our work. Thanks to my colleague Pavel for that. And we also, thanks to Evgeny, my other colleague, we started to work on finally implementing state repository, which was the last biggest unknown for the WASM port, because we actually haven't tested this before. And that was the only area of the Rust DPP that hasn't been tested, because it needs to be integrated into a broader system to actually test this functionality. And since we are starting to work on this and integrating all those previous work that has been done into one big system, that work also has been started. And we are pretty optimistic about it. It seems that we've fixed almost every unknown that we had, and now we have a kind of a, well, I wouldn't say it's a small task, but now we need to integrate all our previous work that we has done before into one big beautiful thing and integrate it into the rest of the backend services. That was the Rust port update. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to the questions. And by the way, thanks for pointing out the 4K and 10K proposals. David, we would like to encourage everyone, if you can, please vote also. And let's see the questions. So the first question is related to the TenderDash team. Lucas and Dimitri, is deadlock in peer up happens on the start up of TenderDash?
Let me take that. So now this happens when a new, so we have a node that is running locally, right? and another node connects to us. And then sometimes, at least in the test environments and in our tests, we get to a deadlock where multiple like external nodes connect at the same time, and they try to access some information inside the consensus engine at the same time in parallel, and they block each other. So that's more like issue that can be detected when multiple nodes connect at the same time to our node, right? It can basically lock.
All right, thank you very much. I guess it answers. To Kostya and the same block execution, we had this init chain. And one question is related to what is init chain?
At this point, we have some logic that we just working on.
Oh, I think, Lucas, you're coming in and out. Anyways, yeah.
I think it's ready to answer.
Yeah. Who wants to take what is init chain? I don't see Kostya on anymore, so I guess I'll just take that. Init chain is very simple. It's just used when the chain starts for the first time. So when the chain starts, an init chain happens and the chain starts.
Yeah, I just
So
can add.
basically-
Yeah, from TenderDash, I can add a few words. So yeah, on a handshake state, we do init chain request to ABCI application when we try to receive information about the state of our application. So basically, we have two ways at this moment how to get those information. First one from the Genesis JSON file. That is more like static data, which we can provide when we start our node. And second way from the init chain request. So basically, for TenderDash, we supported a way to provide only one required field through the Genesis JSON, and the rest information we can consume from the init chain. So that is the reason why init chain exists and how we use this.
Thank you very much for this exhaustive answer. Sam, so the worst case cost replaced with average case costs?
Yes, basically, as I said before, worst case was too bad. Basically, worst case was our first thing. We thought, oh, okay, maybe it will be good enough. I guess we hadn't thought about it too well, and then we realized that the worst case on a very big tree with very big items, even though you're not paying for storage, the processing can be extremely high. So the worst case, we were getting like 15 cents of processing costs, and well, yeah, we don't want that high processing costs. It's just way off from the actual value. Like imagine a processing cost is like half a penny, and instead you're getting like 15 cents. Not just to be able to put your state transition into the chain. And even some worst case costs, if on very, very big trees, depending on your data contract, could be like in the dollars. So we couldn't use worst case costs. So we replaced with average case costs.
Thank you very much. So we have this one more question that is already answered, but I just read it out loud. So when will staking be enabled on iOS? And thanks for Brian Foster to already answer it. CrowdNode on iOS is currently under development. It should be released in Q1 2023. All right.
Yes.
Well, What else? Thanks for explaining this. The testnet platform is waiting for core. Is there an estimate for when this will return?
Unfortunately, Pasta didn't join the chat and didn't answer there.
So
Pasta, you listening right now? You want to come? He might join. Who knows?
He might join still.
If you say his name 3 times, he just magically appears sometimes.
Yeah, but you need to turn off the lights and put the plate of pasta in front of you. So.
And then don't forget, we did get a pull request 666 today, so we can maybe summon him through occult means.
Yeah, we just need the right steps in the ritual. So
yes. I'll answer because we did talk with him yesterday, right, Ivan? As far as, and Ivan, Anton, other people that were in the call, please keep me honest. I believe what was said was that they had restarted testnet and but the miner was still mining on the wrong chain, and then we were not getting instant sends, and we were not getting chain locks yet, and there was still
Master was on the wrong chain.
Yeah, so basically it's not going well. I also heard that there was some very weirdness where blocks were basically being removed even though they were not expecting them to be removed, but they're working on this, and the reason why not everybody is working on this right now is basically because V19 is much closer to completion. So while platform still has a lot of work, they're able to fix testnet. So we're not all going in to try to help fix testnet, basically because otherwise testnet would be fixed, but a lot of the platform work would just still need to get done. So it's kind of like, they're doing this and the rest of the platform team is doing the platform work, so we can hopefully converge and have everything in a beautiful state by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's also a question that came up, that is Dash Core 19 still required for platform release? What is that status?
Yes, Dash Core 19 is still required for platform release. Now, when we do have platform feature complete, right, and everything is pretty much done, there is going to be a testing phase, and there might, this testing phase is expected to take some time. Nobody should expect us to be on mainnet in 2 months from now. It's, once the testing phase is done, then we're going to release a release candidate. At that point, we can put the release candidate, on testnet, and that will be our release candidate. The release candidate is basically, after the testing phase, everything that we think, this is it, this is the one that we want to push out. We're not there yet. We're going to be releasing, as soon as this feature complete is done, a beta, the final beta with all the features, but it needs to be heavily tested. We don't expect any new features, but we're going to start hammering it. We're going to do code reviews on it, like inter-team code reviews. We're going to go in and try to break it as much as possible. I'm hoping that Incubator does the same. I'm hoping that, instead of the current situation where it goes on testnet and it breaks within a few days, we'll get to the situation where it's almost impossible to break it within a few weeks. So that's basically the status. It is going to be a very interesting time. It is going to be very nice to pass this hurdle of just, there was a lot of code written over the last year. Remember that we basically started development of GroveDB a year ago, and we finished pretty much now. So it's been intense. And I need to go cry now.
Yeah, let's celebrate that part for sure. I don't see any more questions, so I would like to thank you for joining today, and we have an ongoing discussion whether we will have a development update 2 weeks from now, because it's the 27th of December, but we will keep you updated for sure. All right. Thank you very much. And see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.